Well, we're going to be jumping into our first pick and ban of the day with a lovely pick and ban graphics right below us, if you're wondering. We've got Lightside up against Rate, two teams that won in their opening match of this season. Of course, both of these organizations were with us last time around, and Rate especially putting on a decent performance. It's going to be Renata and the Setter, as you said, two supports. I'm hesitant to call Setter a support, but you know how it is. Being taken off the table alongside the Wukong.
Yeah, so we actually saw a lot of Senna in week 2 of Division 1. I believe the pick ban rate was about 80%. So pretty high in that regard in terms of appearances. Renata as well, another champion that has been incredibly powerful. The other
Mm,
champion in my mind set up is the Gwen, the Talia as well. Uh,
yes.
Not many teams can make the Lucian work, but those that do are particularly frightening on it. Lightside are going to take away one of the trio of those champions, and now Rate will have to pick and choose their poison, realistically, in what they are likely wanting to play. I think Gwen is the most broken champion in the game at the moment, so hopefully for Rate's sake, they will ban it away unless they have something prepared for it, but quite frankly, it just doesn't really have too many answers.
Ooh. Okay, so Zaya's got away. This is the first time this season on Division 2 that Gwen hasn't been banned. 5 bans across the first day of games. So now it's a question of, does NBZ want to play it? Does he have Gwen in his locker? Are they going to want to prioritize something else and give it over to Nolto? Because this is what happens when you leave something open. It's actually going to be the Lilia priority placed for Bambi, which gives Gwen right over.
All right, I mean, bit on the nose. Lilia probably going into Bambi's hands, but Nolto should be the one piloting this Gwen, and it's going to be taken up alongside this Karma. And I'm curious to see whether Lightside is just going to go, okay, well, here's your Lulu and Hypercarry, because Lulu is
Hmm.
still up and available, whilst Jinx has been banned away. And there are always other options to go for. You can also take up this Lucian, which is still left up and available. And if you want to kind of just throw it down, yeah, you can just go Nami Lucian and say, okay, this is going in the bot lane. You could have also held on to that flex, maybe picked up a top lane into this Gwen, because now I expect, regardless of what rate pick, which I expect to be Sin's champion, you're probably looking now towards those solo lane bans, top lane ban in particular, simply because you have the Gwen there and ready.
Yeah, so it's going to be a case of, do you want to go for the hyper carry alongside the Karma yourself? Do you want to go for something that can step toe to toe with the Lucian in the laning phase a little bit better? Of course, with that Nami, he's going to be so dominant. It's actually going to be the Tristana being locked in. So you've got the hyper carry, but a little bit more safety than someone like the Jinx or the Kog'Maw. And as we go into the second round of bans, will they be taking away? As you mentioned, Gwen doesn't have that many counters, but it looks like Victor is actually going to be the first one off the table.
Yeah, all right. So I think, yeah, definitely the one that you want to do in this regard, take away anything in the sort of mid lane. If you're confident that Gwen is just going to win out in any matchup that NBZ can take into this Gwen, ban away the scaling mid laners. Your Victor, maybe an Azir can follow up with this, and you're probably happy with
Yeah.
your ban phase. But still, actually, Lightside, not confident that this Gwen is going to end up in the hand of Nalto with that Fiora ban. So they're expecting this potentially to end up being a flex into Jawboo's hands.
Which could be very interesting to see the Gwen in the jungle doing slightly differently than what we see in the top lane and being so dominant and so powerful, but it could be an option if they want to be giving it to Jilbo and go for something a little bit different in the top side, maybe grant themselves a little bit more engaged than they've necessarily drafted already. The Ornn taken off the table does suggest that they don't want to be going into the engage on the other side, though. And now it's a case of, will they bat away a jungler? Are they going to bat away another top laner? Because with the Camille gone, if they just want to put Gwen in the top lane, they've wasted the second half of bans for Lightside.
Yeah, I mean, that is always the risk you run, right? And I think just in general, Rate's composition right now, it's a little bit too difficult to pin down, right? Karma, multi-lane flex, Gwen can go top, jungle, even mid. The matchup really is good enough for it. And the Tristana as well, solo lane, bottom lane. So quite frankly, Lightside kind of just in a position where they just have to pick and choose who they really don't want to have, at the very least, their comfort picks. They went for Lotto, and right now it seems like, I mean, hell, the Gwen could still go in Jewel's hands. We'll see what Lightside want to do. It seems like they're banning away picks, perhaps just directly for this Gnar, so that there won't be that flex of the Gwen down towards the jungle, and then they get counterpicked with either of those matchups, which arguably are slightly harder to lane against.
Absolutely. And now considering what's going to go into that mid lane, of course, Lucian can still go into solo lanes, probably not as well as he once could, but it looks like they're going to go for a mage, some kind of pick, some kind of burst is being hovered all over the shop, and it will be the Syndra, the queen of burst, coming on through. And now the question is, are we going to get this Gwen in the top side or in the jungle? The Ezreal and the Tristana giving two strong AD options, with the Gwen being on AP as well, so the portfolio is already there, but could consider something a little bit tanky potentially in the jungle. But there's some powerful other options there as well. Kane, of course, has been doing the numbers, but with the Aatrox hover, could well be the Gwen in the jungle.
Yeah, all right. I expect this will get locked in, and there you go. And also, will get his hands on this Aatrox, and will be taking it probably very happily into the Nart. It's
Mhm.
definitely a bit of a skill matchup, but one that most Aatrox players are happy to pilot. When he's in Mini Nart, you can just out trade him. When he's in Mega, you shouldn't die post 6 simply because you should be able to heal through a lot of the damage once you pop the World Ender. But durable on the Gwen's the first Gwen jungle that we're going to have in the NLC for Division 1 or 2 to memory, unless it showed up in week 1, but I don't think it did in the jungle role. And I've been talking about it a lot because I've been hearing feedback, especially on 12-10 in particular,
Mm.
that Gwen as a jungler works a little bit better on 12-10 than it did in 12-9 for a multitude of reasons, which we'll get into once we're inside of the game. But of course, it is another AP jungler on the list of AP junglers, which are still very powerful and, of course, can get to a point where the clear is obnoxiously fast. So I think when you're looking at the Lilia matchup, Lilia's probably going to clear out pace you on the first couple of clears, but eventually you might be able to come to some kind of parry there. But very interesting drafts. I think Lightside looking at sort of bot and mid side aggression, right? Try and find a strong 2v2 in the mid lane. The Syndra's there to sort of negate some of the kill pressure Tristana can bring down.
Mm.
And then probably move down towards this Lucian army, provide a lot of threat. But again, remember, tower diving, rotating, and then tower diving a lot more difficult on this patch. And that is why I think that Ezreal on the Karma should be able to play at range and hold at bay the potential of all of these early game rotations coming
I was actually going to ask you about exactly that because, as we mentioned, diving towers are a little bit more dangerous because they do so much damage to you in the early stages. You could take 2 or 3 shots and die. So going in and doing all of this, juggling aggro and going in for 3-man dives at level 3 is not really an option anymore. And with people like Ezra, with Tristana as well, even someone like the Aatrox, is there any chance of any of these lanes actually being able to be dove? Because it just looks like everyone's got 1 or 2 too many tools to survive in that situation.
Yeah. We'll have to see. I mean, I still think it's definitely execution based, right? I think
Okay.
those are the key things. Is it a lot harder? Yes, but I think execution is still the key thing. It's just about putting a little more work into it, right? Making sure that maybe
Mm.
you chunk these your laners down a little bit more before you get this dive going, right? If it's a possibility. Just ensuring that maybe the rotation is a little bit faster so it's harder to be punished because sometimes these dives can just take a longer time because you have to commit more resources on the side lane. Uh, again, I think for now it's a mentality thing. If things continue to stay like this and we have this trend be maintained, then yeah, I think we're probably just going to be in for a bit of a slow early game. But again, I think Lightside have drafted to have a fast-paced early game, have Bambi and teasers come down towards the bottom side and
Mm.
try and supplement this Lucian Nami lane.
I am fascinated to see how this one goes down, and we're going to be moving on to it very shortly. In fact, we are there now, I believe, as we're moving towards our first game of the day. Light side on the blue side, Rate on the red. Both of these teams, of course, looking to pick up an undefeated first 2 days. I was going to say first week, but there's going to be some NLC Division 2 action on Saturday, which you don't want to be missing out, so I can't say first week just yet. But going 2-0 in the first couple of games, especially for 2 organizations that had middling results in Split 1, are going to be pretty happy with an undefeated start.
Yeah, I mean, I think for Lightside in particular, uh, given how the middle of the split onwards went, you're definitely going to feel a positive start here could definitely spring the beginning of a positive summer. And for eight, it really was just a little bit of a disappointing playoffs scenario, I believe, for the organization. They definitely wanted to go a little bit further than they ended up going. And I think they had the players to do it as well, but they showed up on the day and got absolutely, I mean, decimated, to be honest. There's no other way to put it. Of course, an entirely new roster means an entirely new possibility of how well they could do. For now, focusing on the game, junglers both starting on the top side. Like I said, I expect Lilia to end up outpacing the Gwen on the first couple of clears, but again, Gwen's clear speed does kind of ramp up slowly over the course of the game.
Yeah, our first couple of clears aren't necessarily going to be as fast as Lilia, who is notorious for being able to burn through camps and then burn through people as the game goes on. But assuming that Gwen can get her foot in the game, we all know what she can do, especially when team fights and stuff go a little bit longer. Everyone's a little bit healthier because of all that durability that they're gaining. Champions like the Gwen and the Lilia are going to have a much more effective time in team fights. And I mean, even for Gwen especially, it's not like she needed the help necessarily.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Uh, Again, these kind of champions, and I mean in particular, right? Both Lilia and Gwen, AP champions with a lot of true damage front loaded into their kit. That's what makes them so powerful on this patch. 12% HP damage as well, whilst it was definitely nerfed down and down a level. There's
Oh, and we're all going in very aggressively, going for that auto. One more would be enough for both of the mid laners with the first blood.
my word, Jesus, I don't even know a hair's amount of HP left. Errol gonna be feeling a little bit bad about that one. If he has the ignite, something a little more aggressive, hell, even a little more defensive, I would have won out on that 1v1. Took the cleanse, doesn't want to get slept, doesn't want to be stuck in that scatter of the weak stun either. More defensive summon the spell, bites him in the backside when he goes for the 1v1. He's actually down 10 CS. There's a big wave crashing in the mid lane at the very least, so he will catch up on a fair amount of it, but still gonna be feeling really bad about that solo kill.
Absolutely, of course, Wivs is having the teleport advantage over Tristana, who went for that cleanse, as you mentioned, is going to be able to go back, get himself a couple of items, and then maybe look to teleport to keep tempo in the mid lane. So, not the start the Rate would have wanted, especially with the Tristana, who's notably a little bit more aggressive in that mid lane. But we're having a nice look at bot lane, where it's all been back and forth, a lot of trading, which is what you'd expect from Lucian and Nami, who want to be able to dive in, get a couple of shots, and then back away.
Yep. Nami and Lucian, we want shorter trades, and Sin. A little bit of danger. Exhaust gets dropped down. You can see the potential threat of an all-in, right? Velocity so fast to drop that exhaust because he knows Lucian can stick on top of Sin there. Really too much. Ezreal's going to be able to do about it after already using shift. And again, that's really what you want to do as Sin has velocity. Just play at max range as much as you can. Mantra Qs, Mystic shots. Keep Nami Lucian as far away as possible from you. Otherwise, that electrocute plus the PTA is going to burst through your health bar quickly.
It's going to be very, very scary. And I saw Sin using some of his ease, diving forward a little bit aggressively. Nah, save that for defensive, Sin. Let's not be jumping forward unless you can finish the job, because last time we did that, the trade was big, the exhaust was dropped, and it still didn't look all that good for Raid. But Nami and Karma both able to go aggressive as supports, and the Ezreal isn't too much of a slouch, so expect to see a lot of action coming through from this bot lane as the game goes on. But I'm just keeping my eyes on the junglers, just seeing what they're out and about doing. It's just been clearing. They didn't want to go for any really aggressive early plays, which is to be expected from the Gwen and from the Lilia. Maybe the Lilia having a little bit of a better time going for those early ganks if you can land the bowling ball.
Yeah, definitely. I think Lilia's ability to approach a lane a little bit stronger than Gwen's. Dropping the flash to have the ghost have a little bit of extra mobility, but that's the thing about Lilia. If you can time the ganks right, sometimes your passive will be up and available, and you're walking in 450, close to 500 movement speed even in the early stages of the game, and it's incredibly difficult to get away from that one. Errol eating a lot of nasty trade.
A lot of damage. I don't think you win this one, Errol. Diving away with the rocket jump, as it is just going to continue asserting dominance in this mid lane.
Yeah, really winning out 1v1, and Errol not really able to achieve too much in this Tristana lane. Syndra was picked into it, so of course, how we're seeing the matchup go this way, it can be very difficult to trade 1v1. And it just seems like for now, Teasers in the trading pans just been winning out time and time again. It's definitely something that Lightside gonna look to leverage in that side of that Cloud Dragon. Picking up 6 minutes on the clock, 5 until the next Infernal Dragon spawns up. So Hextech, Mountain, Ocean, dragons of choice here for potential soul.
See some aggressive play around those dragons. A couple of games recently have seen teams maybe stepping off it a little bit, not giving it too much regard, and that slows things down even more. And you could already feel that the meta is a little bit slow. You'd have expected a little bit more action if you're joining us from last split, or even really week 1 of NLC Division 1, where we were playing on the last patch. Things have got a little bit slower. Getting kills in lane is much more difficult. Bambi's going to try and make me eat my words by stepping down towards that bot lane, as Lucian going to step forward with a couple more shots. Velocity goes low as Vene is going to dive on through. Lucian using that heal. Sin actually holding on to his though, so Rate come out with an advantage in terms of resources there.
Yeah, we'll be okay on the resource front. And Velocity just going to eat up this wave. And again, that's all they really have to do is survive. We saw this yesterday in the M&M game, where they had Twitch Renan. Oh my!
Sin!
Dead, I think. Bots might not save him. Camera. Yeah, there you
Oh,
go. The camera pranks us. As
oh,
Sin go down to the Ignite, and it's all talking about the Lucian Nami lanes. They're so hard to survive. You pick things like Ezreal, you pick things like Karma to try and play at bay, but all it takes is one misstep, one mistake. The shift isn't really going to save you if you immediately lose, 400, 500 HP from the
mm.
PTA procs, from the electric proc, from Nami and the E. It's just so much additional damage in those trades just because of how Lucian works when he gets buffed up these days. And Sin just disrespects it half a second longer than he should. He ends up paying for it with his life.
Fortunately, the Nami's the one grabbing the kill rather than the Lucian, so small windows of joy for Rate, but they're going to get Nard back. Nard to a lot of trouble, pops the World Ender. Bambi's there looking to get some damage down, looking to burn the Aatrox low, but he's got a little bit too much health, and Bambi not even going to blow the ultimate. It's just going to put a little bit more damage down and then prance away. Nalto did burn Flash though, so we could see a redo as soon as Nard goes Mega again.
Yeah, and once that sleeps, well, the sleep next time can come down as well. No Flash, so going to be a much more vulnerable target. So we'll see if Lightside want to try and abuse that window, but for now, the window that they're trying to take advantage of is topside priority. Let's try and make this Herald take work. But you can see Ray already have all the members here. Nalto's cleared the wave, and now all of a sudden the wave state's back to even. But Ray are the ones that are going to have the numbers advantage as they bring Sin up from the bottom side of the map. Seems like Mox is going to read that though, and immediately hard shove the bottom lane. So if Ray want to commit for this Herald, they will lose a little bit of resources on the bottom side, and even risk potential dive as Lightside. It seems like they're going to concede this Herald and potentially rotate down towards the bottom side, but it seems like Bambi just going to take the farming route for now.
Oh, I don't know. Sin's either gone through though. A lot of damage coming down from Lucian, but Sin is going to be able to dance away from a lot of it. The Cullen comes through. Sin goes low, but will be able to survive. As Svene moving through. Bambi there as well. I don't know if Ezreal's going to be able to survive, but this is going to be the first dive that we really see on the new patch in this day. As Bambi jumps through and grabs himself the kill. Manages to get away, but you can already see how much damage those tower shots do.
Yeah, tower shot ramp up so fast. All in here. Jorbu chasing down Thesis.
Looking for the Syndra. Is going to flash onto the blast cone and get over the wall to safety. Velocity parting shots, but isn't going to be able to grab anyone down.
Yeah, Lightside a little bit slow on the rotation to make that bottom side dive happen. It does come in eventually, and honestly, it works out for them because Sin will miss out on most of that CS, and also ended up blowing the teleport. So if you look towards the top side, despite having the Herald in their back pocket, and BZ now hitting on this tower should at the very least take one plate. Could even look to take two if he feels a little bit greedy, but I would want to see the reset, to be honest with you. But I understand the greed. Los Platos, the curse of sticking around for the plates, and hell, maybe she doesn't have the gold to spend just yet, utilizing the boomerang toss with the Sheen procs to ensure that he does end up picking up 2 plates there. So, at the very least, Ray have to make the Herald worth more than its base worth in 2 plates, as a lot of resources on the bottom side. Technically, teleport doesn't have any value per se in gold, but they also lost out in 2 plates on the top side. Additional wave, loads of resources across the map were lost, and it's definitely showing in the gold difference at the top of the screen. 2,500, the difference between Lightside and Ray right now.
Yeah, 2 tower plates in the top side, 2 in the bottom side. They got the kill onto Lucian as well, so Ray really going to have to look to take down maybe even a tower to even out in terms of just raw gold. Of course, you can't really put a gold amount on stuff like teleport. It's difficult to be giving gold values to summoners, but Lightside going to be pretty happy with getting this one up, and they're moving towards this dragon. It will be their second of the game to pick it up. We'll have revelation on what the soul is going to be once Bambi manages to secure it. It will actually be the Lucian securing it, but it's going to be a Hex tech, so we're going to have a little bit more movement around the map, and that's going to be a very scary soul.
Yeah, Hex tech, definitely the most powerful soul. Still, as Velocity eats an all-in, should just about be able to walk out of that one. Bambi forced away by Sin. Yeah, Hex Soul, so powerful. I mean, the stats itself it gives, not particularly the best, but it will help. I mean, it's subjective. Pace, if it stacks up enough, I think it's a pretty good dragon. But away from that, we asked from Rate. They secure a lot from this Herald, and it looks like they're going to get a full tower. As you called out, that's really what's going to make it worth it at the very least. Look towards the bottom side. Lightside trading this out. They know, okay, Rate have Dual Ball and Nalto on the top side with no teleport. Take control of the bottom side wave. We'll ensure that Mox can get a bunch of these plates down himself. And also, it seems like deny all of these creeps away from Sin. I mean, if you take a look at the minimap, it's more about the potential of Bambi just being there, waiting in the tri-rush. No one's there to support Sin right now because everybody was on the top side, showing that play works out. So despite, Rate getting a lot there, they still miss out on the bottom side. So Sin remains quite far behind. However, look towards Noto and Jewel Blue's inventories. Drinker picked up, and that Nash's Tooth is almost completed.
And when we get to scrapping in the mid game, when we get to the skirmishes, or even the first couple of team fights, having an Aatrox and a Gwen with a couple of items is going to be very, very scary. It's something that we haven't yet seen from Lightside and Rate this game. So even though Lightside have been edging it when it comes to making the first plays or getting the picks, teamfighting could be a completely different story. And that, in this meta especially, is what is going to signify a winning or losing team. As we're actually going to see Moxco putting a decent amount of damage into Velocity, forced to flash away as the Karma manages to survive. But I'm really impressed with how Lightside have been playing. I was talking to a couple of people, learned scholars of the League of Legends recently, about this patch, and they were saying, look, when something's happening on your screen, it's almost just as important to look at the opposite side of the map and just see what the enemy team is doing. Because a good enemy team is just going to be on the other side of the map, gaining advantage whenever you pull the trigger on anything. And Lightside seemingly have been doing just that.
Yeah, no, they've been doing it exceptionally well so far. And Mox is just the main benefactor of that, quite frankly. Already making his way towards the Essence Reaver, halfway to it. Sin still working with components towards the first item. But again, Rate did at the very least answer on the top side, right? You have to remember also on the score Drinker now.
Ooh, going towards Saziz, who's taking a lot of damage, goes low, but we're going to see Lucian running on through. The tidal wave comes up, doesn't manage to catch Velocity though, as the fight will continue in the river and in the mid lane. John moving forward, nice ultimate coming down from Sin, as Moxco goes forward, manages to grab one, as Noto is going to be forced to take a 2v1, looking towards Bambi, but the speed up, the going golden, Mbizi is there. Can Lilia survive? No, she can't, as now Mbizi going to flash over the wall, gets the Gnar, gets the stun, boulder down for the kill, as it's going to be traded 2 for 1 in favor of Rate.
2 for 2, actually.
Oh,
Fox Bambi went down, Lucian went down. 2 for 2 ends up being trade. And honestly, not so bad for 8. Nulto in a 2v1 really makes that work. And quite frankly, kind of unfortunate to lose Sin in the mid lane. If Mox wasn't as fed as he was, probably doesn't trade that kill out and just dies in the exchange. So you can probably call that a positive win. And when you start to maybe consider the way that these two team comps are going to start to interact as things go on into the game, maybe there's a scathing angle here for 8. Double AD carry, solo AP for the Gwen is definitely going to feel kind of good. A majority of this team composition is fairly short range, where the Aatrox can at the very least probably do his job if he's being buffed up by the Karma a little bit. I don't think it's the end of the world to be down 2,000 gold or so, but I think the next big sign of how things could potentially go for the next 5 minutes or so is going to be at this Hextech Dragon.
absolutely. I was just looking at the time myself, 50 seconds. It is Hextech, not Infernal. A little bit of a bug there with the dragon icon, but you can see it as Moxok moves past it. And this is going to be huge. If Lightside can manage to pick up this dragon, get themselves onto that soul point, things look very, very scary for Rate, because the damage coming out of that one would be massive, especially on champions like Lucian, who's already got an item and a half, coming towards 2 in his pocket, and is going to be able to continue going aggressive, continue trading and damaging. As now Rate might overextend a little bit, as you've got Caesars, he's stacking up those orbs, potentially looking for something onto the 4 members of Rate, but with Nolta coming in to make it 5, this could be dangerous.
Herald is back. Okay, they're going for the mid lane tower. They're going to try and bait in a fight.
Teleport coming in behind as well, though, as Joel might be gone through, but he gets absolutely annihilated, goes down to the Lucian. Once again, the Cullen comes through, but Errol survives a second longer, going to be taken down by BZ, as on the side, it's all about Bambi getting the damage through. Velocity shot down for a double, it's going to be Sin removed as well. It's a clean ace from Lightside at the 16-minute mark. That could be huge.
Oh, that's a complete disaster for Rate. Lightside just played the fight so well. Teleport comes down on the Rate side, but it's not exactly a flank angle or anything like that. And on the top side of the fight, Bambi just finds a 2-man sleep onto 2 key targets, and he's able to tank through it. Right now, Lightside just are a lot stronger than Rate ever were. You take a look at the inventories, even on the base, Rate's still unable to match what is in the inventories of Lightside. And Lightside now going to be able to go back to base, spend more gold, and get even further ahead in the IM department. The well-played fight in general from Lightside. I think Rate, Jewelbu in particular, just dived a little bit too far forward. That's I have a Rift Maker play, and I'm going to heal up the damage I'm taking. Or a Gwen is immune play. Didn't have the Gwen shroud up. Certainly doesn't have a Rift Maker yet. Fortunately, the fight just a little bit too disjointed for Rate.
That was, well, call that the third dragon fight. It wasn't around third dragon, but it was taken off the back of it, so we can give ourselves a little bit of credit there, as Lightside now setting themselves up for sole point at like the 21-22 minute mark, which is exceptionally quick for the meta we're currently in. Rate need to be able to defend that one, but Baron's going to be on the menu when the last dragon spawns, and honestly, the way that Lightside played that fight, not only did it look very, very good from the individual players, but next time they scrap, there's going to be items galore that they've gained off the gold.
Yeah, I mean, look, Errol teases still working with components on the bottom side. Sin only now really just finished up that Triforce. Whereas Evolution, 2 items already. Discrepancies are things that are going to make the difference for now. Tristana needs those items before she can really become assassination player again after the laning phase, where she was already shut down. So Errol's going to struggle. Sin really needs that Manamune to come online before Ezreal really starts to be a menace. Can't really lock down really easily. So Lightside, they're the ones with all the agency. I want to see how they now continue to push their lead out onto the map. They've got 5k up on rate. One more dragon until they pick up that Hextech. So are we going to see a slowdown like what we were seeing on Div 1 yesterday, or in Division 2 on day 1, where we got to some moments in the game like this where the map opens up a little bit, and because again those towers, they're super threatening. Even if you're super far ahead, it can feel difficult to dive,
which can make taking the objectives a little bit difficult and opening up the map a little bit harder. But Lightside, when there's no defense on the top side, they're going to be really pleased to just knock down towers. Free taken for them at the moment as Bambi needs to be a little bit careful running towards a speed shroud that is owned by Wraith. I don't think Bambi's even going to get there with the explosion ticking through and grabbing the kill for Errol. And now it looks like Wraith are going to push down the mid lane. They have got those objective bounties, so 1-1 trade in towers as they go down simultaneously, but that's going to be great for Rate, and they're going to be able to push through towards this inner. Of course, they've got themselves the Tristana, who's very good, a demolition expert, maybe only taken down by Ziggs in that regard, but this should be a second one. Rate really opening up the map and getting themselves a lot of gold in pocket.
All right, Rate, 2 towers in the mid lane. They were only able to take up that mid lane tier 1. It would have been a good trade for the Lightside.
Oh, I don't know. We've got Mbeezy coming forward, maybe looking to try and make something happen. Is going to go Mega, but the ultimate from the Buster Shot, Tristana, sending him packing and not going to be able to grab anything for his troubles. But as you were saying, that's a great play from Rate. They're going to get themselves a little bit back towards parity.
Yeah, no, definitely an uptrade. Rate able to dissipate the potential re-engage, I think, is huge, because if Lightside were able to pick up that team fight there, that would have been an immediate Baron takedown. But this is an immediate Baron start up, as they recognize Rate are all on this reset time right here. They'll have the Hextech gates to come back out, but I'm not even sure they're going to read it. A couple of pings on the way. There you go. The Mr. Pings are starting to come through. Now almost going to reveal that it's going down, but it's 5k already. The burn is so quick because everyone's so fed.
And they might be in trouble, though. Going to throw down tidal wave, but Gwen is going to be able to dodge away from that one. The Baron is secured, but will they be able to get away with all their members? They're all in the river right now as Rate moving forward. The World Ender was popped for a little bit of speed, but Naruto in 2 minds about going in for the play. It actually, for Lightside, it's the perfect crime. It's Baron on 5 as they step away at the 20.5 minute mark. Are they going to look for a fight there? It looks like they're in 2 minds, but they're going to dive forward. Naruto gets caught against the wall by the Nard. It's going to be another kill going over to Moxok, and now it's going to be Lightside moving forward, catching on to Velocity. So much damage as Svene secures that one. The bowling ball, the Swirl Seed, will catch on to Sin, but Lightside, disciplined, decide we're going to take 2, we'll take our objective, and we'll go back to base.
This is normally the part where I would say daylight robbery by Lightside, but honestly, it was just a well-orchestrated Baron takedown. They already just pushed Rate from the bottom side of the map, so if they're still there, they're going to be down resources. They won't have spent their gold, which they just picked up from picking up the 2 mid lane towers in, well, the mid lane with all those objective bounties on them. They spent the gold, or they base, and they're not going to make it back to this Baron in time, even with the gates. Thankfully, pick up the Baron, and they're going to have all of those additional stats when they walk down towards this dragon. And now Rate, I mean, this is truly last chance saloon. You look at the inventories, 3 items for Mox. Didn't even decide to go for the Infinity Edge. Went for the Rapid Fire Cannon to be stronger on this spike right now, and they're fighting.
Oh, Jawbo's in a lot of trouble, though. He's going to have to go golden, but that's a nice Nara into 2 on the wall. Errol dives away, though. Sin's going to be the first victim of the fight as members moving forward. Moxok in the backline. He's just doing so much work. Naruto is going to be the last one standing. Routed away. The Lucian is on an absolute mad one. Needs to be careful, though, as World Enders pop. Naruto trying to get away, but it's going to be the ace for Lightside. They've got Baron. They're going to be able to break the base at the very least.
Much better from Lightside compared to Monday's game. They are just looking to absolutely rout Rate in this opening game of the day here. Rate, unfortunately, just haven't really had much of a leg to stand on It's felt like since nearly the beginning of the game, we hoped maybe once they picked up those 2 towers in the mid lane, they would be able to maybe work with those objective bounties. But Lightside just make a very, very well tempered play as he's going to steal away the Grom from his AD carry. Hextech Soul was picked up. Now I'm really not too sure what Rate can do other than hope and pray on the mistakes of Lightside, but mistakes really haven't been coming aplenty so far in this game from the blue side team.
I was going to say 6 minutes, hope that they don't do anything, and then flip Dragon Soul.
It's just not happening.
You got to give me something. Believe. I say that, but Moxoc is an absolute monster down at the bottom side for Lightside. This game 7-1-4 on the Lucian, and no signs of giving up any kind of pressure, any kind of priority. As now it's Rate just trying to set up, looking for something, looking for potentially a pick onto a overzealous Vene is probably the only person you're really looking to capture. It's Ziz, who's well overextended, but even so, everyone on Lightside is just so strong.
Yeah, and I'm really not sure who at the moment Rate can rely on, because, I mean, hell, maybe you look to Nulto, but at the end of the day, I think he just gets burst down. There's too much CC to deal with. Sin stepped up for half a second and lost half of his health bar. And
That's been Sin's life all game, really.
life all game, to be honest with you. And I think it's going to continue to be his life this game, unfortunately. As Lightside, as a unit, here on the bottom side of the map, will push up into this inhibitor tower. They should take it down with pretty much no difficulty at all, and they're going to look to just burst open the base via the inhibitors and hopefully for themselves find a fight. Great step too far forward. Meganar's there.
Gobu needs to be a little careful. He's overstepped a tad, but will be able to get away. Damage down onto Velocity, who's going to go down in a hail of bullets and orbs. Is going to be a second inhibitor secured by Lightside. And with the support off the table, they can look to try and press forward and try and end the game here. It's 4v5 under towers. Nolto goes low, going to be able to be a shot down. It's Ziz with a spree as he grabs another as they move towards the first Nexus tower. Will be able to secure it. Jobu stepping up, but goes drowsy. Will be deleted as Errol steps forward. Nothing he can do. Sin, the last man standing, is going to be able to dive away from the tidal wave, but the damage is there, and the ace from Bambi. The minions are going to maraud their way in a straight line and secure themselves the win. Lightside 2-0 in the first 2 days. Rate taste their first defeat.
Very, very good start for Lightside. I think Monday, a lot to improve on after their natives game. And we had Wicked on the interview after that game, who effectively kind of said, just give us a little more time. Yes, this game was a little bit heart attacky. This one, I'm sure, definitely going to be calming the nerves of her and the support staff there at Lightside. And again, there just wasn't really too much Rate could do. I think in general, there wasn't really a lane with true agency they could play through, with the exception of the mid lane. But the matchup just went so skewed in favor of Tisa's that all of a sudden, Jobu didn't really have a lane to play through. The top side matchup, whilst it was counterpicked Aatrox into the Gnar, maybe you could have had an angle there. It wasn't played to either. And unfortunately, I think Lightside just take complete control of the game through the mid lane matchup being so skewed and through having so much agency in the bottom side as well with that Nami Lucian.
Absolutely. And speaking of that Nami Lucian, we're going to jump to a short break. When we come back, we're going to have an interview with Moxoc, the ADC from Lightside, who dominated on Lucian this game. So don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a few minutes.